Hello, everybody, and welcome to Neurotic News again. Thanks for listening. Any plugs at the beginning? You've got your festival run coming up.
Yeah, just Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane.
Nice. And my special's out, so you can find that on any of the socials, and it's on YouTube, so that's good. And this podcast has a Patreon. That's about it, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like other podcasts, have more energy.
Yeah.
Than us.
Yeah, I feel I don't have any energy.
Yeah.
Like I need to drink Red Bulls too.
Really?
Yeah, someone said, do you have a stage persona? And I was like, it's just a side effect of Red Bull and stage fright.
Right, yeah.
Like it's not actually a consciously chosen thing.
Well, you definitely do have a persona, but it is a state of fear. So I guess, is that a persona? Or
no, it's just a reaction to reality.
Right, which gives you the persona.
Yeah, there's no people crafting a persona.
Right, an act or whatever. You're just genuinely scared.
I'm just generally exhausted and nervous.
Yeah, scared and alone.
Being tired and nervous is the worst combination.
Right. Because
you're nervous, like something stressful's about to happen, but you don't have the energy to face it.
Yeah. That's when you're full adrenal fatigue.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that that's good for you. Getting in there. You know what? I feel like at the airport is where you see someone who's on the cusp of wanting to be in a wheelchair. That's where they take their first foray into wheelchairs. Like you see people getting pushed around in wheelchairs, you're like, you're not wheelchair bound.
It's the airport's the only place in the world where most of the people in wheelchairs can walk.
Mm.
Like statistically, more than half can walk.
Yeah.
I've seen them. I saw a guy in a Hawaiian shirt with like a Susie's birthday squad, like, when they design a shirt for an event.
Yeah.
Because they're getting like a Jetstar flight direct to Bali.
Mm-hmm.
Got like that with a Hawaiian shirt, and then he's jumping up.
Out of the wheelchair
to get on the in front of other people.
Yeah, because the airport has the airline has its own wheelchairs.
Yeah,
and people take the risk, not the risk, but they take the chance.
Most of those people, if they parked in a car space with the wheelchair logo, would be towed away.
Oh yeah,
but they've got this magical zone
where they can get a go of it.
Where they're being pushed. It's like a ride.
They seem like people that are on the cusp of needing a wheelchair.
Some of them.
Yeah.
But you don't get to do that with other things. Like you don't have like a colostomy bag. You don't get to try that out at the airport.
Yeah.
Like you get the wheelchair easily, but you can't get like a sleep apnea mask online.
Right, so you're saying you can't turn up to the airport and give sleep apnea mask a go just while you're flying?
Yeah.
The Virgin sleep apnea mask.
It's not like, they've got the tourist store where you can buy like a boomerang with like Visit Brisbane logo on it.
Right.
You can't, there's no like ailments store.
Right, like give it a go, crutches, a sling, a wheelchair, a sleep apnea mask.
Complimentary moon boot.
Yeah, moon boot, give it a go. While you're visiting Brisbane.
Yeah. I feel like if you took like an alien to the airport and he'd be like, fuck, there's a lot of miracles going on here.
Right. As in like people are getting cured.
People are getting cured magically when the queue forms.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So they're in the wheelchair to get past the queue.
I saw a guy was in a wheelchair, got wheeled to the thing, but he was the first to get up when the plane landed.
Right. So he slowed everything up at the beginning, and now that this landed, he's first to get off.
Yeah.
Gets up, jumps up.
As soon as you arrive at the Phuket airport, the guy's like, his head's hit the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you fucking jolted up there.
Yeah. Lots of energy now, haven't you?
What kind of spinal disorder is that?
Well, you're quick to your feet and you jump up.
Is that disc 4? Like which alignment problem?
Yeah, L4, yeah, the L4.
Because you enjoyed being wheeled.
They don't seem to mind.
Yeah.
They don't seem to mind that bit.
Sometimes they go from wheelchair to massage chair. You know those chairs that jolt your back?
Mm.
You'll see someone go from a wheelchair to that. So it's like you do have feeling in your back, don't you?
Yeah. It is a funny phenomenon. I like the insight of that you do see people in wheelchairs. You're like, what's the... Because it doesn't look like they're in pain or that they've got an injury.
No.
It does look like they're just literally getting wheeled around. And I don't know what that loophole is.
Yeah, because you'll see them walking in the food court like to a Red Rooster. And then next minute they're getting wheeled to Terminal 4.
Yeah.
So it's like I see you some kind of like amphibious creature. You know those creatures that are waterbound but can go on land?
Yeah.
That's kind of like them. They're amphibious vessels.
Right. Between
like
walking between buffets and lines and then in the wheelchair between.
They should have a shirt like biped in the food court, wheeled to Terminal 4 or whatever. Like if you don't like me when I'm walking in Red Rooster, then you don't deserve me when I'm getting wheeled to Terminal 4 by an airport personnel.
That's crazy.
To Malay's Airlines.
Malay's Airlines. I love it. Yeah, that makes me think, like I feel like trains can be like kids' parties.
Yeah.
Just in the sense that you're always playing musical chairs and there's music from a dude with a Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah. It's the game of musical chairs is being run by a meth head with a boombox.
Right.
Playing
so you've got to
techno.
get up and move.
Yeah.
When he stops the music and starts talking to you.
Yeah. Or when he starts the music, you keep moving until you can't hear it anymore. And then you sit down wherever you stop hearing it.
Right.
Because it's blasting through the carriages. So you keep walking through the carriages and then you sit down when it stops.
Right. Yeah, that does remind me. Yeah.
There's pinatas, like he's beating a guy with a stick until drugs fall out. And there's passing the parcel when the cops come on.
Yeah, quick, motherfucker. Yeah. Quick, you take it, man. Fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the drinks as well are like at kids' parties.
Yeah.
Like he's drinking cordial from the thing direct.
Yeah.
Without any water.
Yeah, I saw a meth head drink a tin of coconut milk out of the tin.
Yeah.
And then he did a somersault.
Yeah.
Like he did a full flip using the handles of the tram. It was a tram, and he did a full flip back.
Yeah. I've noticed that the people who are least likely to know about the existence of a quiet carriage are the most likely to disrupt it. So I don't know if it's working.
Yeah, I don't think they're aware that there is such a thing.
Because I've heard a guy like playing a rave on one.
Yeah, well, it's hard to escape music these days. Like if you're like at a cafe in the line for something, it's pretty rare that there isn't music blasting. And it's not like jazz or classical. It's like, we're talking about like, real fucking like.
Oh, yeah. I've been to cafes where you could use a Taliban raid.
Yeah, well, I was going to say the Taliban would put a quick end to that, wouldn't they?
Well, they ban music.
Yeah.
So, like, they'll go to a cafe, some guy's playing, like, Janis Joplin on a vinyl and just decapitate him.
So you're thinking of a kind of exchange program where the Taliban come over to cafes as a service of decapitating people that are playing music too loud?
Just airdrop them into inner city cafes.
Right.
And have them do a round and just turn it all off.
No, brother.
Yeah, I'm just saying they're not all bad. Like every negative has a plus.
There's some things the Taliban do well.
I mean, the music that's just playing everywhere is an ongoing sensory assault.
It's an overload, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like I can't think in public a lot because there's just music everywhere.
Yeah, I guess it's a hyperstimulation, isn't it?
There's things beeping and...
Yeah, there was a terrorist plot to decapitate the host of Sunrise.
Yeah, that was in like 2014 or when ISIS was around and people still watched live broadcasts.
Right.
I feel like if you were going to decapitate, if ISIS was going to decapitate the host of Sunrise Now on live TV, they'd have to ask the cameraman for the footage.
Yeah.
Just to clip it up for
TikTok so it got seen.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to get seen on the live broadcast.
Yeah. They're like, yeah, we've got like 67 people who saw the beheading live, but we're really going to have to drive it.
Yeah, we need to get seen, so we're going to have to ask the cameraman for the footage.
Yeah.
Just a HD is fine. Yeah, it doesn't need to be.
There was more people in the studio audience than at home watching it live.
Right. Yeah, the crew makes up most of the audience.
If the cameraman didn't call the cops, they could keep it a secret almost, like keep it in-house. Like it'd take months to discover what happened.
It is weird watching broadcast TV, isn't it? It's like if an alien tried to make a video.
Yeah.
That would appeal to humans.
I think there's more censorship on YouTube than live TV now. Just because if you did like, just show a beheading video in the middle of Antique Roadshow, like would anyone even complain?
Probably not.
I mean, there'd be one dude, but he'd be so mentally ill no one would believe he'd say it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. The one guy watching Antique Roadshow.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that guy's called again.
Yeah.
This time he reckons he saw a beheading.
Yeah. Yesterday was hardcore pornography.
Yeah.
Trevor, we're going to have to up your medication.
All of which was happening, of course.
Yeah.
Just in the middle of Antique Roadshow.
But now they're like...
Someone bored at the network who knows no one's watching. Just putting on just hardcore porn in the middle of it. Like, fuck me. And then just cuts back to... I think the vase is probably worth a lot more than you think, actually.
Yeah. Well, most of the people at home
Grandma
watching
passed it down from... And then it's like...
Yeah. I reckon because if you put it on YouTube, it'd get flagged immediately.
Yeah.
But if you put it in the middle of Antique Roadshow, a few people would see it, but they'd already be like psychotic type people.
Right.
So they'd be questioning their own judgment.
Who is watching Antique Roadshow during the day? Because if you're like unemployed or deranged, you're on the internet.
Yeah.
So it does beg the question, who's watching Antique Roadshow? Because even people who are into that shit would be watching it through the internet.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if there is people holding a remote watching that show, their hand is a skeleton. Like,
because they've been dead for so long.
There'd be a lot of dead people that are so lonely no one's checked up on there. Like you'd come in, there'd be a skeleton just watching Antique Roadshow. It's like, oh, that's one of the viewers.
So you're saying that there's a meeting at the Antique Roadshow production where they're like, it turns out quite a few of our viewers are skeletons.
They're actually antiques themselves.
And some of the skeletons are worth quite a bit of money.
Yeah, they're vintage as they've perished.
Well, the skeleton is 110 years old. No one discovered it and just left it Antique Roadshow playing one of the ratings every day.
The viewership's so old they could actually be featured on the show as antiques. This is Gladys.
Special edition of Antique Roadshow where they show all the skeletons. People bring in the skeletons
that are watching
of long lost dead relatives that were watching Antique Roadshow that were never discovered. And
well, the loneliness epidemic's so bad. There's probably a huge number of skeletons just watching TV,
which is accounting for advertisers still putting money into it. And they're like, "What's going on?
Why is it not showing up?"
Yeah, why isn't none of the products that we're advertising getting bought? Because there's a huge amount of skeletons watching.
A lot of those remotes are gripped by bones. Like just bone on remote.
Fuck.
So do a welfare check. I like how they call it a loneliness epidemic too, because you don't think of being alone as being contagious.
Right. Yes. Good point.
Like if
an explosion of loneliness. Words like epidemic and explosion and vast, these kinds of words they use with loneliness make it sound almost exciting.
Yeah.
When you are just masturbating alone with the lights off.
Totally. And the weird thing is, if you treat it like any other epidemic, like you wear a mask and sanitize your hands, you become more lonely.
Yeah, when you lean into it.
Yeah, because people just think you're weird.
Right, because you're wearing gloves and you've got like a sign or whatever on. And, you know, sometimes people have signs like, don't talk to me, I'm actually suffering, blah, 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 like something, you know.
I'm always like, where'd you get that sign? Do they sell them on Etsy? That sign that says, don't talk to me because I'm allergic to fragrances.
Yeah, that's a real guy we saw in an organic shop. Don't talk to me, I'm allergic to fragrances. We shouldn't laugh because, you know, I feel sorry for the guy, but it is also absurd.
Yeah.
To be allergic to Calvin Klein or whatever.
Maybe it's because like the nose is the gateway to memories.
Right, so you think that he gets a whiff of your soap or whatever.
Yeah, and he's like, I got bashed in the botanical gardens. Do you know what I mean? Because the nose is like a Shazam for memories.
It is.
So maybe he's like Calvin Klein headbutt.
Yeah.
Like it was hard to know. You get a lot of neurosis in organic shops because...
Interesting, isn't it?
It's people who are very scared.
Pedantic, yeah. Their fear is coming out in the form of, I won't get a pesticides on my apples, thanks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of micro-neurosis analysis required to understand what is healthy today. Like once someone told me that kale isn't healthy, I just gave up. That's when I try to eat well, but when I heard that, I'm like, I'm not getting into the details anymore.
Yeah.
Because kale's got fucking some shit in it that's bad for your liver or something if you don't cook it, and I'm like, I give up.
You got to move to one of those blue zones.
Yeah.
Like a Greek island where they only eat like sardines.
The blue zones where the people live till 120.
Yeah.
It'd be great to just introduce highly processed food. Just be the first one to get in there.
You just turn up and Giuseppe's squishing grapes with his feet and you're like, have you tried Krispy Kremes?
Yeah.
He's like, what?
Have you tried, what are those fucking, not Twizzlers, Reese's Buttercups or whatever?
Yeah.
They're like, fuck. Have you read the ingredients on the back of them?
Looks like a chemistry test.
Yeah. Yeah. Just introduce that and they have one and die because they're so sensitive.
Yeah.
Or they live like us where they're like, I feel really weirdly depressed and I have a lot of brain fog and I feel constantly exhausted. It's like, welcome.
Welcome, brother.
I want to be the first to set up a McDonald's franchise in a blue zone.
Yeah. You want to set up like a Cinnabon next to like where those old Greek dudes play backgammon on milk crates.
Right.
You know when it's like 220-year-olds
and
that have never felt stress?
Yeah. And they got a better back than me, so they're able to sit in a milk crate.
Yeah.
The fucking cunts.
And then you're like, hey, try a Cinnabon. And they just fall over dead. They're like 120. It's like, it's a really good lifestyle. And they just try one. They're like, fuck, it just kills them.
Yeah, they're just like, this is good, dead.
Yeah. Because they've never tried it.
Right.
You've got to kind of attenuate yourself to that.
Yeah, you need
level
to work. Like at KFC, McDonald's, like this is a commitment. You know what I mean? If you have some out of the blue, it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
You know, the poisons in the oil and so on.
Yeah.
You got to start with a little bit and work your way up to eating a bucket.
I'd like to you turn up with a huge bucket to Giuseppe's like goat shed farm where he's squishing the grapes in a vat. And you're just eating the chicken watching him. And he's like, oh, what's that? And you're like, what, this? It's just chicken.
You want to try some?
Yeah. Dead. Heart explodes. Because it's such a finely tuned...
Right. It's used to receiving better fuel.
What is it like? It's like introducing a new species to a country.
Yeah. Like ravages. Yeah.
The cane toad.
Yeah. I saw, speaking about Japan and stuff as one of the most famous blue zones, there's a bigoted friend of mine. I wouldn't say he's a friend. He's a guy, like just a, you know, bigots. You went to school with them.
An acquaintance who hasn't betrayed you yet.
Yeah. That came out easily.
Yeah.
You've said that sentence before. And he pops up on my Facebook feed or whatever. And so this is a guy I know who holds like quite bigoted racist views, particularly towards Asian people. And there he is in a kimono. Haven't seen him for years. Picture up in a kimono, bowing with his Japanese wife. I'm like, what's going on here? You know, what's changed all of a sudden? And the same with I had an uncle, similar, Sky News, fucking wild opinions. anti-immigration, pro-Pauline Hanson, Bush, Japanese wife. Japanese women are the only women that can flip a racist. Asian women in general, they'll flip a racist.
Yeah.
And in Thailand, they'll flip a homophobe.
Yeah. Like straight up.
Yeah. Like they can flip them. They can get in there and, you know, bring them into a culture that they didn't want to.
They're the gateway drug to tolerance.
Yeah.
They're the marijuana of tolerance.
Which sounds like we're being racist ourselves, but it's actually a compliment.
Yeah, I feel there's just something. It's like how the Nazis were allied with Japan.
Right.
It didn't flip them, famously, but it was a start. I think.
It's funny that Hitler, you were telling me, who is this guy? I'm
His
fascinated.
name was Julius Streicher. He was like, I read a book. He was more racist than Hitler.
Right.
He was so anti-Semitic that Hitler thought he was a bit much.
Wow.
So he was like in Nuremberg, he was head of propaganda like under Goebbels, but
Right.
he kind of had the Nuremberg like arm of it.
Okay.
And he published like just crazy like street press.
Okay.
Kind of like The Big Issue, but with like really racist cartoons on the front.
Okay.
And which is a big issue. But yeah. And like he was really like crazy rabidly. So Hitler would go to Nuremberg to watch like Wagner plays and whatever. And he'd like avoid this guy because he was just too much.
Wow.
So he'd be like, man, just don't tell this guy, Julius, that I'm here. Like I just want to watch like Ride of the Valkyries and
Yeah. He's
chill.
too much.
Yeah, it's like I also have other interests other than rabid anti-Semitism. But then Julius Streicher would like show up
Knowing that he was there.
like awkwardly,
yeah.
kind of, and just be like, yeah, he'd like be like, yeah, this is all about the Jews. And Hitler would be like, no, it's just, this is about Vikings and
Yeah.
it's not all about
Yeah.
the Jews. So this guy thought like Hitler was woke and stuff.
Yeah. Like he thought Hitler was too liberal.
Yeah.
Hitler was a libtard.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There's always one extra, isn't there? There's always another level. Always.
Can you imagine it's just a guy going, it's political correctness gone mad? Like about Hitler?
Yeah. Yeah. Putting him in camps. Wow. That's quite liberal.
Yeah.
As opposed to just mass, you know?
This was the one guy Hitler was like, just tone it down a bit. Like he had to tell him to just chill.
Is that true?
Yeah, he's like, you're freaking people out. Like he'd apparently just he'd froth at the mouth with just rabid anti-Semitism. Like,
Wow.
he'd just be like, Jews, and Hitler'd be like, no, just you're freaking everyone out. Like mention the conspiracy. He like almost had Tourette's.
It's almost like it's always funny that every extreme guy in history had another one that was like,
there would have been a guy that thought Genghis Khan was a cuck.
yeah,
You know?
he's weak as piss. Yeah,
It's like you hire Leni Riefenstahl. It's a diversity hire.
I find that so funny that Hitler had a guy that he's like, yeah, he's a bit much. Like when Hitler's the guy.
He was avoiding him and stuff. You just don't think of that, hey? He's like, just go through the back way. I think Julius is there. Like go out the fire exit and stuff.
Yeah,
To avoid Julius?
He's too anti-Semitic for me.
Yeah.
I love that so much. I love the ideas of Hitler having awkward exchanges and so on with people he had to avoid.
Yeah. Well, this guy had the lowest IQ of any of them.
And most anti-Semitic.
Yeah, they were like, he had an IQ of like 90.
And he would have been in a position of power.
Yeah. He was like a...
You got to be dumb to be racist, though.
Yeah, I mean, he was like almost
Right.
like special needs. Because he was literally like, Jews! And then they're like, shh. Like, you're going to scare everyone. Like, we still need to make speeches and stuff.
Yeah, we still need to communicate. It can't be just slurs.
Yeah, he's just drawing cartoons of Jews with big noses and stuff. It's like, yeah, come on.
We're a bit more sophisticated than
This
that.
is ridiculous. You're drawing a swastika on a napkin with a crayon. Grow up. Grow up.
I love that so much.
But they still keep him in and so on because
Yeah.
it is good. They're like, no, it's good to have like
Well, they probably have a bit of empathy for him. Like, come on. Poor old Julius. He doesn't know where he left his keys and so on. He needs special help. Let him draw his cartoons.
Should we put him in Dachau or let him run it? I don't know.
Oh, fuck. Here's another one for you. So, see, like, there's a lot of migrants trying to,
across the Panama Canal,
yeah,
the forest floor.
and other places between South America and America. There's these channels that are too dangerous to patrol,
Yeah,
and going through them, there's often like, I'm going to call them pirates, but whatever the land version
yeah,
of that is,
raiders and buccaneers.
yeah, like just crazy shit. And they, you know, they take their gamble
Yeah,
at crossing through these channels of rainforest that are dangerous because of the nature, but also because like they're just unpatrollable and there's like gangs.
yeah.
And it's also the same kind of places CEOs would go for their retreats to do like a mountain climbing exercise as a group bonding exercise.
It's like the Kokoda track.
Right. So you'll get a CEO running into a South American migrant who's on their last legs trying to escape
The
into
only
freedom.
difference is they have better trail mix.
Yeah, the trail mix is better with the CEO.
And the migrant's like, well, I've got a life vest of fentanyl strapped to me.
Mm.
Like, because I'm a mule. And they're like, welcome. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's just funny that they'll end up in the same place.
Yeah, I can imagine a sitcom where they bump into each other and
Yeah, and they get stranded together and it becomes a sitcom.
yeah,
It's like Bill Gates and Pierre.
yeah. Just hanging out on the forest floor. Yeah, because the photo I saw in Time magazine looked like a retreat.
Right. So is that something you read in Time?
Yeah, I just saw a photo. But I was like, if you just changed the faces, this would look like a retreat,
Right.
like a holiday that you could sell.
Yeah, right.
Like
I
if
see.
I wasn't wearing my glasses, I'd probably think it could be an ad for,
Mm.
like, you know, when they do the ad for the tours,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, do a tour through the Panama forest, strap
Right.
fentanyl to a vest and see if you can survive as a mule.
It does sound like we were talking about frictionlessness and like bringing friction back into like the CEOs do that.
Yeah.
They do the Kokoda Trail and so on. Yeah, it might be a good one for them to do. Strap fentanyl and try and get through this corridor.
Can you get through this corridor with fentanyl strapped to your vest as a drug mule without getting shot by a artillery fire?
Yeah, it's a really good
Well,
team building exercise.
Yeah, dodge the Panamanian drug lords who are using the trees as a kind of treehouse base to shoot down.
At you.
Yeah. Oh, this is crazy because they're driving Teslas and
Yeah.
working from
Working
Zoom
from
conferences
home.
and stuff.
Yeah,
and
everything's digital.
using the word synergy. They're like, let's dodge bullets in a Panamanian forest floor.
Mm. Yeah, I guess probably the world will become a bit like Hunger Games where there's like isolated communities that live normally and then outside is chaos and so on and danger, and you'll sort of take trips outside and like those things that they get around in Jurassic Park in that are like see-through spheres.
Yeah.
And you just roll around and
Go to Coles.
yeah, meth heads attack you and throw, Molotov cocktails at you. And yeah, you go to Coles instead of the organic shop because it still exists outside.
Go to Coles, it's now an axe throwing centre. Just throw axes at meth heads that are coming at you. Like, I gotta use my Groupon for the axe throwing place. Dodge tomahawks.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So this is part of the outside because it reminds me of A Brave New World, how they have the outside and they go to nature and they visit,
yeah. Like
they visit the
Garden
tribal,
of
they
Eden.
say tribal people, but they're just people that are living regular lives.
blue zones.
Yeah.
Giuseppe squishing grapes and shit.
Yeah.
To make artisanal wine.
Mm.
Savage. Like, have some ultra processed fucking $5 cooking wine, you
Yeah.
dog.
Have some fucking antidepressants, you can't.
Yeah. It's weird that when they colonize Mars, there'll still be people on Prozac, like in the shuttles and stuff.
Yeah.
Because you'd think they'd just be like, fuck, I'm on Mars. Everything's fine.
Or just that society would be so advanced that people wouldn't be unhappy.
Yeah.
But the guys flying the ship to Mars will probably need, therapy and so on.
Yeah.
They'll just be depressed in a new place. That's kind of a haunting, horrible, terrifying thing to say,
It's
actually.
a good name for a book. Depressed in a new place. I mean, that's best case scenario is to be miserable in a more luxurious area.
Right.
That's as a human being, that's all you hope for.
Right. So you're depressed in like a fucking...
A nicer place. Or a new place.
with an infinity pool and so on.
That's all travel is. It's just being depressed in different areas.
that are new and exciting areas to be depressed in.
I'm going to be depressed in Barcelona. I'm going to be depressed in a Tunisian village.
Which you were.
Yeah, you can be. It's...
Don't give up. You can be.
I think with travel, the novelty acts as an antidepressant for like the first hour.
Right.
But as soon as you need to use the local laundromat, it kicks in again. Like as soon as there's like, oh, you need an app to use the laundry machine, you're like, okay, I'm in Tunisian village, but I've got to use an app and fuck, I'm not on rhyming. Like then it all starts.
Right. I see, yeah. At first you're like, whoa. And then depression, yeah.
Yeah.
Google Maps and so on in another language and so on.
Lining up for a museum you're not interested in. Because you're not sure how long to spend in the museum. That's the problem. You're like, have I enjoyed this artifact enough? Do I understand it? No. Move on to the next thing.
Oh, fuck.
Don't you find there's a weird malaise, ambivalence to museums? And
yeah.
like this is a Kandinsky painting.
Right. Yes.
And you're worried you're not enjoying or appreciating or like you're trying to read the wall text, the caption.
Yeah, you're in a museum, you know you're meant to enjoy it, you've paid an entry fee and you're trying to absorb.
Rinse the value.
how do you absorb this sandstone carving?
Yeah.
Like, like how do I take this in? You know what I mean? Like you want, everybody wants it to be fuck now. You know what I mean? Like you want it to be like, whoa, experiences.
Well, I was at an MC Escher exhibit. You know those spirals where you go up and then you're down and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
And like I actually walked into an exhibit and like a security guard kicked me out. Because I thought it was...
You were actually in the piece of art.
Yeah, I was in the art. But I thought it was like a staircase to another thing. But it was crazy. This guy was like at the
Yeah, you crazy. This is an international piece of art that's worth millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And you're fucking redheaded, fucking confused glasses looking around like, oh.
Where's the wall text?
Just looking to take a shit. Is there...
Yeah, where's the sign saying don't?
I love it. All right, well, that's enough. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed some of those ideas.
Thank you, sorry.
Thank you, sorry. Thank you. Tune in again. Thanks for listening. Bye.